So Jim got so much excitement now of showing me that goddamn Miller High Life in champagne glasses that I saw this yesterday when I was watching some football. Go Birds. They beat the Rams.
Fucking somehow.
Chargers.
No, it was Rams.
Rams, yeah. Fuck. Yes, they beat the Rams. That was great. But I saw a commercial that really sparked my interest. I was like, what the fuck? So Budweiser
Fucking late season Nicky Foles.
is Big Dick Nick.
He wins us another Super Bowl. I won't complain.
So Budweiser Copper. It's basically Budweiser aged in Jim Beam barrels. And the process for this is not unlike what we've seen in the craft world for a long time. It's what Guinness actually does with Jameson. They actually swap back and forth. You see it a lot more now, like with the Jameson castmates. You get a big brewery of bourbon or whiskey who has all these barrels, nothing to do with it. Ship them over to some beer, some breweries, and essentially they just age it in the shit. Once again, it's super well known for the craft world, and Budweiser, one of the biggest companies that gave craft beer shit, talking about we brew our beer the hard way. All these others add artificial flavors or age it and stuff. If you have to age your beers in barrels, then you might not be making beer good enough. You got two of the most iconic American companies in Budweiser and Jim Beam, and now they're combined. I guess the first thing I would say is, having had a shit ton of beer, generally lagers don't age well in bourbon barrels. You always do it with ales, and that's the way they're fermented, and that's the way they're made. So I don't know how it tastes. I'm going to get a bottle, and I'm sure we'll drink it on here. Maybe it tastes amazing. I don't know. I like each one individually. I don't love Budweiser. It's fine. I prefer Jack over Jim. And honestly, I prefer most other actual bourbons over both of those.
Yeah.
Besides the point. What do you think of that, Jim?
Well, one, goddamn, I forgot to get the Miller champagne bottle.
Yeah, you get that. I'll get this.
All right, that works. Actually, we were tailgating for a Flyers game, and they actually brought the champagne bottle, but it was piss warm, so we're all taking sips of it, and it was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's Miller High Life. It's not really the champagne of beers. And I don't like champagne.
We are not 18 anymore, so Miller High Life is not good. But some could say Budweiser is maybe they're a little hoisted by their own petard at this point, Brian. Maybe they got a little too big for their britches, and now the craft beer is actually taking a chunk out of their profit margin.
Or is this just like, even though the lime versions have come out and they stayed around, is this
Well, Bud Light Lime's still popular. Miller Show flopped.
But that's what I mean. Like, I feel like once they see things get big, they just take their hand at it. They're like, let's give it a try. It's kind of like Burger King and releasing specialty burger. Like,
it's like Call of Duty putting in Blackout.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair comparison.
It's a great comparison.
But the Blackout, I look at that as like, I feel like you're going to start seeing that be a permanent mode in all the FPSs.
Yeah.
Whereas this could be a very easy, like, they do it for a season, not enough people buy, and they're like, all right, well, fuck it, that was an experiment.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be the same for Blackout, but essentially, yeah, I think we've talked about this on here, man. The fucking influx of every beer. Oh, it's barrel aged. So
I mean, like, I had my Budweiser phase. Like, there was a while, like, one of my bands, like, I was in a decade ago. We'd hang out for the night, and we'd kill off a case of Budweiser, like straight, normal American Budweiser.
The fuck else? There's another European Budweiser. Why are you guys
saying it's owned by the Krauts now. So, I mean, back in my day, it was good old-fashioned American Budweiser.
You're old.
Now it's Krautweiser.
You're not young like Frank.
Anyway, so, I mean, I've been there and done that with Bud, but I don't need my Budweiser to be barrel-aged in Jim Beam. So, you know what that sounds like to me? It just sounds like a hangover.
So one thing I should have looked up, I'm checking it right now. It comes in at 6.2%.
All right, so that's
about 1% or 2 more than the standard.
That's
Bud.
like a third more at least.
Yeah, so
third more alcohol. Which, I mean, there is like Bud Premium, or like, I think that has more alcohol too. But
Here's the deal.
Either way,
The only
it
thing
tastes
I
like
will
shit,
say
though.
is, and I know Bud's like just like cars, beer companies are going back to their retro labels, retro bottles, all that stuff. I do like the way the bottle looks. It's that standard, what I call the medicinal bottle.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's like the full fat, doesn't have a long neck. It's
Imagine like a bottle of Red Stripe just with a Budweiser label on it.
yeah. So next podcast, I'll make sure I get some. Jim will get his shitty champagne, and
We will have us a classy night.
we will have a very classy night. Maybe one of our next drinking games we'll get drunk on this shit.
Yeah, you know what? We can bring those back.
Maybe we could drink on pinball games.
Maybe we can.
No, we can't. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, we can do it.
So, yeah, if you guys saw that commercial or have any thoughts on it, let us know. I had to bring it up either way.